I did it, guys. I reached 10,000 subscribers. I'm in disbelief. I never, ever, except maybe when I had 9,999 subscribers. But aside from that, never would have thought that I would reach 10,000 subscribers. I owe all of you a huge thanks for your support and your content, much of which I enjoy watching. So, way back when I was in the low hundreds, I promised that if I ever reached 1,000 subscribers, that I would flush 30 toilets in a line, kind of like I flushed 20 toilets way back in 2019. And I knew that that was never going to happen. I didn't know how I was going to fulfill that promise when I made it, but I knew it wasn't going to happen. Sort of like in my test videos when I say, if this Peerless Madison passes a washcloth in a grocery bag, I'll install it. I knew it wasn't going to pass, just like I knew I'd never reach 1,000. And here I am 10 times that. So I really do owe you guys a huge thanks for this. This video actually is going to be a little bit different than my other milestone videos because with those, I lined up a bunch of toilets or I found some really cool ones. But with this one, I will share with you some history of my toilet interest and some interesting information about it. So, I guess where we start out with is back in my old house when I was no older than 4. I would take the tank lid off of my Murray Savoy, which was my first toilet. I'll put a picture of that up here so you guys can see it. And by the way, I am the baby. So I would take the tank lid off of that and I would watch the tank parts as the toilet flushed. I would look at them, I'd watch the flapper open and close as the water went down, and I even made my own tank parts. I put like random toys in the tank, balls to cover up the flush valve. I just did a whole lot of weird experimenting with the toilet tanks. Basically, that was what first started my interest in toilets. I didn't care about the models or the flushes or anything, just the tank parts. So, fast forward to some time, I collected the flappers mainly, the flush valves and the flappers. And I just had a large collection of them. I would buy them from the stores when I found one that looked different, and I had them all in my room somewhere. And eventually I sort of lost interest. I donated them to Habitat or Goodwill, and I just sort of took a break for a little while. I didn't really care about toilets for a few years. And then along came 2016, or actually 2015, I think it was. I went to Japan, and the toilets there were really cool. And I actually took some pictures of them. This was my first documentation of toilets. These are some toilets in various parts of Japan. I'm not exactly sure where they are or what the models are, but if I can remember, I'll put the names on the pictures. In 2016, I kind of took a break. In 2017, Hurricane Harvey came around and just destroyed a whole bunch of houses, a whole bunch of businesses, and basically made a whole lot of people's lives miserable and destroyed a lot of buildings. So I guess the good part of that was that I got to go and I got to get the tank parts out of all of the toilets that people were throwing away. And so that I did. My grandma drove me around in her car, and I would get out when I saw a toilet with my tools, go take the tank parts out, and bring them back to the car, and we'd go on to the next one. Sometimes I'd even break the toilets to get the parts out of them. Now I kind of regret that, but oh well, they were trash anyway. So I actually have a lot of those tank parts still, and I built a little setup on my wall to display them. I'm gonna add a little video of that right here. So I just went along collecting the tank parts from the toilets after the hurricane. I think I even took some tanks home because there was some stuff I wanted that I couldn't get, and I got it out there and then threw away the tanks. But then I stumbled across this yellow toilet, and at the time I was only collecting the tank parts, but this was cool. This was an exception. So this toilet was scattered along the pile. The tank, the lid, and the bowl were all in different parts. And I think it had been used before they had removed it. So it sort of had a smell. But I loaded it into the back of my grandma's little car, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do with a toilet? Why am I getting this? Because it's cool. It's cool to have a yellow toilet. So that is the first ever toilet in my collection, my 1976 yellow American Standard Cadet. So after that, people started slowing down with the remodeling after most of the houses were fixed up. Even now, I still see some stuff out. Eventually, I got interested in them, and I started to notice the models. I started to notice the brands and the ages. And I was getting more and more interested in toilets. When I took a trip to Florida, I actually filmed my very first toilet video, and that was in mid-October at the Motel 6 in Kissimmee, and I filmed a 1997 Kohler Barrington pressure light because it sort of interested me and it made a weird sound when it filled up. So that was the first ever video that I took of a toilet. And then fast forward to 2018 when I first started selling. I would get the toilets, I'd pull them off the street, I would clean them all up, put the new parts in them, list them on Craigslist, and sell them. When I took a road trip to Ohio, along the way I filmed a toilet in a hotel in Arkansas, and I believe I might have also filmed another one, but this was all in 2018. And then in 2019, towards the beginning of the year, I didn't really film much. And then around the summertime, I went to Chile, and I filmed a few toilets there. They were Fanaloza Abingdon, a Fanaloza washdown of some kind that's basically Briggs, but in Chile, and then a Castell one piece in an apartment building. So those all came before my channel. Then in July 27th of 2019, I posted my first video of a 2000s Kohler High Crest at a gas station. And after that, I started posting some of the older videos that I had taken before. And then into 2020, I kept posting more and more. And eventually, sometime towards the summer of 2020, I switched from filming in portrait to landscape, and then I just went from there, and here I am now. But some of the interesting things about my channel, some of the early toilets. I'll give you some information on what the early toilets were of my channel. So first, we have the oldest toilet. The oldest toilet I've ever found and ever owned is my 1901 John Douglas Lotus. That toilet is the crown jewel of my collection, and I don't think I'll ever let it go. I love that toilet. And the first high tank test ever done on my channel was the 1915 Cornell Searle toilet, which unfortunately no longer exists. The first forward trap toilet I ever got was a Christmas present from my cousin. It was a 1955 Universal Rundle forward trap. It was not a Commando. I know what those look like, and this was different, and I'm not sure the model name. The most I ever paid for a toilet was $115. I bought a brand new Project Source Pro Flush. I don't know if you remember, I made that community post where I sold off a bunch of light fixtures and saved up enough money to buy one. I could afford one, but I don't like paying a lot for toilets, so I wanted to work for this one. And the most money that I was ever paid for one of my toilets was $400. I sold my lavender 1930 standard Ciocto and its matching sink to a woman from Minnesota who drove all the way down to come and get it. Then the first toilet I ever punished was my 2003 Niagara Flapperless. So those are just some of the firsts on my channel. Those toilets just sort of started it all. I don't know what the first one I ever tested was. I guess I should have put that in here too. But then I also have filmed in a number of states and even a few different countries. So I'll start off with the countries. I filmed in the USA. Well, duh. I filmed in Germany, Austria, and France, and Chile. So I took a few videos. Obviously, I don't have as many as the US. I think I have one in Austria, three in Chile, a bunch from Germany, and a bunch from France. Now we move on to the states. I've filmed in Arizona, Hawaii, California, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Colorado, New Mexico, Louisiana, Ohio, Arkansas, Tennessee, Texas, and Florida. I've filmed a number of places. I have almost 4,000 videos, so I obviously have filmed a number of places, but I also filmed a number of states. So that's pretty interesting, honestly. Well, I guess this pretty much wraps up my video, except that there is one more thing that I have to mention, and I definitely need to give credit to this person. Plumbing and Stuff in Oregon. He was the one who I looked to when I first joined the community. He got me acquainted with more local filmers, and I greatly appreciate that help. I don't know where I'd be without you right now. So, huge shout out to Plumbing and Stuff in Oregon. Definitely go subscribe to his channel. He does, as you could probably expect, plumbing and stuff in Oregon. So I'll leave a link in the description, and go ahead and subscribe to his channel, subscribe to mine, and once again, thank you all so much for helping me reach this milestone. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video.